Now to personal pronouns. First and second person personal pronouns. We've covered the basic case system of nouns: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative. We've surveyed third declension nouns, which we'll come back to in the end of this slideshow. We began looking at them in Chapter 10, but we're going to come back to them for just a bit here in Chapter 11. But the bulk of Chapter 11 is first and second personal pronouns. Make sure you have mounts out with you as you watch these slideshows. And again, I trust that this won't be your first viewing this week. You'll watch it a couple of times. Perhaps there'll be some chapters where you need to watch a slideshow 3 or 4 times to be able to digest the information. But as we progress, some of you are already getting to the point where there's a bit of a fog developing and you need to review more and more. Do not be discouraged. Continue on and continue to review every day. Again, I encourage you 15 to 30 minutes in the morning, perhaps even before breakfast, and then 30 minutes to an hour in the evening. If you do this at least 5 days a week, at least 4 days a week, try to get 5. Take a day or 2 off, but at least 4 days a week, you're going to be successful if you do this diligently. And if you think that you're going to do this a couple of days a week, you will not pass Greek. We are now at Chapter 11, and we have barely scratched the surface of what you're going to need to memorize and learn. So with that, let's review English pronouns before we move on to the Greek personal pronouns. Pronouns have 3 persons, first, second, and third. First person, I or we. Second person, sort of radiating out from us, you or y'all. And then third person, he, she, it, or they. And so here, the various cases in English. Subjective is doing the action, I or you. Possessive, obvious, my, your, our, your. And then objective case, receiving the action as a direct object, me, you, us, and you all would be the options. Well, in Greek, the personal pronouns start with the English column for first person: I, my, to me, me, we, our, to us, us. Now go to the first person nominative singular, ego. That is Greek for I, ego. And then mu, moi, me. Those are the singular first person personal pronouns in Greek. Ego, mu, moi, me. I, my, to me, me. It's not very hard, is it? You can really get that down pretty quickly. I mean, you see mu, you may think of a cow when you hear the word, but when you see mu, you can see my there a little bit. Or we, in English, have derived that from Greek over time. You can see the moi and me as well. The plural is a little more difficult. Chemes, chemon, chemin, chemos. We, our, to us, and us. You can see the endings here between the first and second person pronouns, especially in the plural, are identical. The difference is chem, first person, and whom, second person. But that's not really that difficult to differentiate, is it? Because whom sounds like you, oo, whom, and you being second person, whom, you. Humes, humon, humin, humos, to, or rather you all, your, to you all, you all. And that leaves us just with the second person singulars. Su, su with the omicron upsilon. That's not that difficult to remember, is it? Because genitive singular in the second declension, that's just the regular paradigm. That's the pattern. Omicron upsilon is the ending for the genitive singular and masculine and neuter. Well, Sue, the same situation here. Though there's no gender in personal pronouns, the ending is just easy to remember. Soy, to you, se, you. This paradigm is not really that difficult to memorize. I think after watching this slideshow just a couple of times or reviewing this, saying these out loud to yourself, you're going to have them down, and these will help to solidify also just the second declension endings in some ways for you as well. Look at the second person column then. Su, su, soy, se, humes, humon, humin, humos. Let's talk about parsing for just a moment here. When we parse personal pronouns, we list the case, the number, and the person. There's no gender in first and second person personal pronouns, and then we list the lexical form and then the meaning. So humon is genitive, plural, second person from Sue. We list the lexical form is Sue for second person. For first person, it's ego. And you can see that here with emoi. It's dative, singular, first person from ego, to me. You can see some translation here. Ego is nominative singular. Pistuo, logon, Sue. It means I believe your word. The genitive here, Sue, translated as a possessive, genitive singular, Sue. Idu chemes, nominative plural there, chemes. Not humes. Humes would be second. This is first person. Nominative plural, chemes, idu. Chemes afekam en panta, kai ekaluthe kam, kamen, soy. The soy dative singular. So behold, we, first person nominative plural, we have left everything and followed you, soy dative singular. You'll have some good practice this week in the workbook, and these first and second personal pronouns really come fairly easily. But you'll need to continue to review them. Make sure you differentiate between the chem, first person plural, and the whom, second person plural especially. And you'll be making progress. Here's some more third declension work. Again, first declension endings, or first declension nouns rather, what is the ending of the stem? Yes, alpha and eta. Second declension, that's right, omicron. And third declension, consonants. Yes, so all consonants, stems with consonants behave the same way. All words whose stems end in alpha and eta, well, they're grouped together and we call them first declension, first group. They behave the same way when the case endings are applied to them. And stems ending in omicron, we group them all together because they behave the same way when the case endings are applied to them. So these declensions are just groupings to help us observe patterns of words and how they are used then in sentences. And we get meaning from them. So here's the third declension endings. Again, third declension words, stems end in consonants. And a few of note here. Tau, delta, the consonantal iota. Iota is normally a vowel, isn't it? But there's a consonantal iota in Koine Greek, and so pisti functions that way, and then rho. I've supplied here the case endings for masculine, feminine, neuter, and then some endings with tau. The words charis, phos, and hudor, their stems end in tau, and you can see how they behave then. You still have the regular pattern of genitive singular, dative singular, excuse me, and on through the rest of the paradigm. Notice we still have the consistency of nominative singular. When there's a neuter word, the nominative and accusative singular are the same, nominative and accusative plural are the same. Pistis is the consonant iota. I want to call your attention to the accusative plural. It reflects the nominative plural, and it acts like a neuter word, though it's not, though it's feminine. But notice the neuter, nominative, accusative plural are the same for each word, and singular. Otherwise, the patterns are pretty consistent. We're wanting you to remember patterns here. Don't feel like you have to memorize this whole paradigm, but you should be able to recall patterns. I would encourage you to take a piece of paper beside mounts and cover up the words themselves and just look at the endings, see if you can follow the endings. Might be helpful as well to perhaps make a photocopy or of mounts and try to cut up the words into just small pieces, maybe blow the screen up a little bit and try to just identify the words that are listed here, sort of using the paradigm as a puzzle, and you have to put it back together. That might be helpful. Vocab starter. Adelphos, Philadelphia, city of brotherly love, brother. What declension is Adelphos? Look at the ending, omicron. That's right, second declension. So, adelphu would be the genitive singular. Aner, hairy, a man is hairy, aner. Andros, if the stem ends in rho, what declension? That's right, third declension. Elpis, some people are hopeful for Elvis. When I see Elpis, think of Elvis. Some people hope he's still somehow alive, though that would be just a fairy tale, wouldn't it? Elpide is the root. Delta is the ending of the stem. So what declension? That's right, third declension. So elpidos. Elpidos would be the genitive singular. Continue to work on your vocab and your grammar. Translation, do some in the morning, some in the evening. Doesn't need to be the same all the time, but if you can get into a pattern, it would be very helpful. At least 15 minutes in the morning, at least 30 minutes in the evening, at least 4 days a week. If you just do 2 days a week and that becomes your pattern, you will not be successful. You may be able to do that some weeks, but you need to discipline yourself, because as you progress in Greek, you will need to do much more review, or it will be lost. So continue on. Lord bless you.